Hey, I'm sorry about that, y'all. I got interrupted. Anyway, so like I was saying, what happened on the next scene was Tariq and Kanan are walking in a not so savory neighborhood, and they were talking about old times, about how when Ghost and Kanan and Tommy all used to run together, selling drugs. Tommy and Kanan would get caught, but Ghost would never get caught because he would figure out how to be fast enough just so that they would get caught and the police would just be like, oh, we ain't gonna worry about him. We got these two. That's good enough. So Tariq gonna say, oh, he's just always been selfish. I'm just like, how you hate your daddy so much? Tariq earns my soul. So anyway, it gets to a point where they end up stopping. And then Kanan turns to him and hands him a handful of drugs and told him, go ahead, sell these, and when you're done, call me. So he looking like, how am I supposed to do that? He was like, I don't know, you're going to have to figure it out. He walked off smiling. Y'all know how 50 Cent smile. He be doing the most. So then, wait a minute, what happened? Because a whole lot started happening. Like, okay, so I'm almost finished, but what starts happening is everything starts tying in to each and every single scene after this. So, let me find, hold on. Is this where it does it? Oh, I went all ahead, y'all, my bad. So, anyway, they go to the next scene and Ghost met up with Proctor. So Proctor, at this point, he's trying to squeeze information out of Ghost. Ghost is in the middle of like writing checks or something for the club, and he ain't even halfway paying attention as it is. So it's like, bruh, you kind of barking up the wrong tree at this moment. So then it got to the point where Ghost was like, is there something I should be worried about or whatever? Can I trust you? I was like, oh gosh. So he kept trying to squeeze him, and then it just got to a point where Ghost was like, it was nice seeing you. And I was just like, wow. He brushed you off like it wasn't nothing. And let's see what else. Tasha and Keisha met up to discuss the subpoena that she got. And to make a long story short, Tasha tried to tell her, like, look, I know what I said before, but I need to add one more lie to it. And I need you to lie and say that you saw Kanan at the little, what they call it, at the repast, at the house or whatever, and all this other stuff. And this is to make it seem like he was there and he was the one who took the gun to help further her framing situation of Kanan. So she's in her feelings and was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And she going back and forth. And the way that Tasha is speaking, every time they bring all this stuff up about the killing, it always dawns on her like, okay, I feel like you know who the person is who killed him. So why are you protecting the person? Because Tasha will be like, oh, the person is still out there or whatever. But it's like every time she talks about it, it just becomes more and more apparent to Keisha, like, all right, you know who the person is, why are you protecting them? So, whatever. They go away from that scene. So Tariq ended up coming back to the car quick. So Kane was like, no, man, that was too quick. I know you ain't selling. He was like, and so while Kanan in the middle of going off, Tariq reached in his pocket and pulled out a wad of money. So he pulled off and he was like, oh, okay, all right, I see you can handle yourself. So what happened was the way he was even able to sell it off, since y'all know he don't drug deal nothing, he don't know how to do nothing. He got some little corner boys to do it real quick. So Kanan is counting the money and he noticed that like one of the 20s was counterfeit. And he was like, we hustling backwards. So then they driving Tariq and it looked like he in his feelings. And he was like, oh no, there go the guy right there who did this. So he like, well, what you want to do? So he was like, pull up. So Kanan pulled up on the dude and he was like, you want the strap? I was like, you know you're wrong. He be knowing he wrong. And that fool took the gun, hopped out the car, and he said, give me all the money now. And he pointed the gun at the main dude. All the other people that was with him ran way before he did. Dude ended up dropping the money on the ground. And Tariq got back in the car Like it wasn't nothing. Like he just was doing all this like he's always been a gangster. And I'm just like, why are you doing the most? I can't. So, he was acting like he was just so mad that he tried him to begin with. And then eventually, I don't even know how I got to this. So I think what happened was Kanan brought it up. No, he was like, you like the son I never had, and was laughing. And so Tariq was like, but you had a son. Sean was your son. And wiped the smile clean off his face. I was like, you be doing the most. So Tariq was like so in his feelings because he lived for Sean. And so he was like, how could you kill him? He was like, look, he wasn't a gangster like me and you and all this other stuff. He wasn't built for this. He was weak. And he was like, I just don't understand. If you love him, how could you kill your own flesh and blood? How could you kill your son? Like he just kept saying it over and over again. Like he was just so through. He was just so upset about it. And he was like, look, sometimes it gets to the point where that's the only way you really know that you really are in it for the long haul is if you end up having to kill somebody that you love. So he was like, wow, I can't even believe that. So meanwhile, on this drive, I think like they tried to make it seem like when we're watching the show that Tasha texted Tariq earlier in the day and it seemed like he was ignoring her. So what happened was Tasha texted him and said, where are you? During this scene, Tariq finally texts her back and he says, Queens. So I'm trying to figure out why is he actually answering her now? Well, I can't wait till y'all find that out. They did the most. But what did happen was he was like, he texted her back Queens and then he told Kanan that he had to go home. So he was like, all right. So, he started, trekking on to the house. So we go to the next scene and this is where Ghost, apparently he had been waiting for Dre for over an hour. So when he showed up, he all mad. I've been waiting for you for over an hour. He was like, yeah, you'll be all right. He was like, look, the only reason why you showed up was to let you know that I'm done dealing with you and to tell you to tell all your people to stay off my back because every time you look up, they always gunning for him and doing the most. So I was just like, Dre is just he's just too much of a wannabe gangster. I can't do it. So he just was looking at him like he said, he was like, he just was looking at him like I said what I said and walked off. And I was just like, Ghost got so mad that he texted Tommy and was like, Dre tonight. And then he said, meet me wherever he said meet him at in the text. So I'm like, oh, he about to kill Dre. Yes. So I got a little excited. So then we end up going to the next scene, which was Proctor met up with his cousin. The same cousin who, again, was the same one who helped to clean up the crime scene when Tommy ended up killing that Fed at his house. So I'm trying to figure out why they meeting up. And Proctor was like, man, you think this safe? And he was like, yeah, they ain't gonna be able to track us this time. I think we did enough so that they couldn't, track us and see that even after he's in good standing now, that he didn't jeopardize everything to meet his cousin. So the reason why he's meeting up with his cousin is because he still had a key piece of evidence. Now, this evidence is something that would tie him to the murder of the Fed and basically to everything dealing with either one of them because he represented him and Tommy and Ghost. Just want to make sure I was clear about that. So one particular thing that was still on that laptop was a recording that would actually vindicate him in some sense because, like I said, because he has been representing both of them, has information on there. If he presents it to the cops, Tommy and Ghost will go down, but he would get immunity. So he was looking like, look, I don't want to do this, and I'm usually the most loyal, but if it comes between them and me, I gotta choose me. And all in all, they've been using me this whole time. They've been squeezing me for information, and the only reason why I've been working for them is because it came to me kind of on your ex-wife, baby mama or whatever, she's doing these drugs and all this. I mean, it's just the way that they came at him was all the way wrong anyway. And that's how they became their lawyer anyway. So I'm looking like, oh gosh. So he was telling his cousin, like, look, I understand loyalty. I understand all that. You know I do. But I know that if it came between me and them, they wouldn't choose me. They would save themselves too. So he was like, look, I got to save myself. I'm looking like, I'm glad you finally got some sense, Proctor. Thank you. So he ended up getting the laptop from him. So I guess he's either going to get the stuff off of there or destroy it, because his cousin was like, I don't understand why you ain't destroy it in the first place, because this is the last piece of the puzzle that connects you to anything. So I was looking like, okay, let's see how this play out. So now we about to be towards the end, y'all. This is about to be towards the end, for real now. So we go to the next scene, and this is where all the scenes start connecting, where it gets to the point where I'm looking like, it looked like a good tennis match going on. Like, this is how good it was. So, to clear my throat. So, at this point, Kanan is taking Tariq home, right? Okay, cool. So then, they having a good old conversation. He feeling so good about himself. And he was like, yeah, I'm about to be the next Nikki Barnes over here. So then, all of a sudden, police sirens go off. They got the little whoop, 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 go on in the back. He was like, oh, okay, you know, I ain't gonna find nothing up in here, so go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and pull over, but they ain't gonna find nothing. Apparently, earlier when they did everything, when they were supposed to meet up with the Italians, all the drugs and stuff were handed over to them. Ain't no drugs in the trunk. He ain't got nothing on him. The only thing that actually is in the car, to everybody's, especially everybody watching, the only thing we noticed in the car is the drugs that Tariq had. It was like a few things that he was gonna sell somebody, I guess, when he got back to the school, whenever he do go back. So he had like some random weed or some pills or something on him. So he was like, you know, you can't pull what you pull with that security guard. You have to put that under the seat. So he took it off of him and he put it in the seat, put it under the seat. So then they pulled him over, and so he go, Kanan, good evening, officer. And so he was like, license and registration. So he pulled out his license and the registration, and so they ended up asking Tariq if he had if he had any kind of ID on him. And so Kanan was like, go ahead, show him your ID, all this other stuff. So then, off rip, the police officer was like, may I check your trunk? May I search your trunk? And so he was like, yeah, I ain't got nothing to hide. He said it so confident. I was like, okay, all right. You're doing the most, all right. So then, this time, they end up going to a whole nother scene. And so in this scene, Tasha and Ghost are arguing. Well, they start arguing because Ghost came in. He looking in the safe. He looking like, Tasha. Tasha come in the room. He was like, where the gun at? I saw you when you put it in the safe. I don't see it in here. So she was like, I had to do what I had to do. So he looking like, what you talking about? He over here mad as I don't know what. Meanwhile, Tommy is texting him, trying to figure out where he at, because he has eyes on Dre, and I think this is when they was about to try to kill him. And so like Dre looking all dapper, walking from wherever he walking, he on a phone call with somebody, laughing and smiling, doing the most. So Tommy like, all right, where you at? So, you know, meanwhile, they show his phone in the distance on the table going off, and the little text messages popping up of him and Tasha going back and forth about where the gun at. So then they ended up going back to the scene of the traffic stop. And so they end up going to the trunk. And then when they popped the trunk, they went back to Tasha and them arguing again. Then they ended up going back to the scene where the trunk was popped. And it's a gun sitting in there. And I'm like, wait a minute, baby. I was like, wait a minute, how the gun get there? How Tasha get there and get the gun there? So we looking like, okay, how did this happen? I'm really trying to rack my brain, because I'm like, this don't make no sense. Does she really even know where he drive like that? Because he pops up out of nowhere. So what happened was, I got to cross my arms on it. It started getting juicy, y'all. I was like, wait a minute. So what happened was, the police informed him what kind of gun was in his trunk. And he was like, oh, that ain't mine. That's the kind of gun. He basically said that's the kind of gun that a woman would use, or somebody weak, basically. I'm not gonna say that word. He said the B word. He said that's the kind of gun a B would use. I was like, you doing the most. But anyway, so he was like, it ain't mine or whatever. So then they ended up telling both of them to step out of the car and put their hands on the hood. So then the police officer was like, do you know why I stopped you? He was like, I stopped you because you fit the description of a person um, who called us and they put out a missing persons report. The missing persons report was on Tariq. So his mama made it seem like, she was like, oh, I think my son might be with this bad guy and this is what he looked like or whatever, however she did it. And so they said he fit the description and all this other stuff. And so they verified that Tariq was who he was. And so Kanan was like, I was with him because he wanted to be with me. He was like, tell him you did this on your with your own free will. So they got the camera on him, like, go ahead and tell him. So, he confident, like, yeah, I'm about to get off because he told me to come over here. He was over here because he wanted to hang out with me, whatever. And so here he go. He was like, I don't know who he is. And made it seem like he had been held against his will and all this other stuff. And then I was like, oh God. Then they showed the way Kanan looked. I was like, oh no. So then he was like, take the kid. So they did what Kanan told them to do. So while they were taking him off, they trying to handcuff Kanan. Kanan was like, he had already told Tariq in the car. He was like, I already told you I ain't going back. He said he ain't going back to prison, and he meant that. Next thing we know, while he in the middle of trying to get handcuffed, he done pulled the gun. I think what he did was he pulled the gun off of the arresting officer somehow and shot them, killed them. He ended up in a shootout. He killed everybody that was there. Tariq ended up running for cover and he ended up getting in one of the police cars. They ended up calling backup and everything. He killed the backup and everybody else. They shot Kanan 2-3 times. So he ended up getting in one of the other police cars, one of the Crown Vics that was behind the police car that Tariq was in. He ended up killing the last police officer that was living right in front of Tariq, because the guy was like on the ground like, please, please, no. He looked right at Tariq and was like, bah, killed dude. And he was like, and I was like, why you trying to be scared now? So then he ended up said it all, and he went on ahead and walked by. So he got in that car and he tried to drive off. So he driving right, and I'm like, he didn't look too good. So what's going on? Man, Kanan didn't make it, y'all. Kanan did something terrible. He tried to drive, and then next thing you know, he went all off on the side of the street and ran into something, and then he slumped over the steering wheel. He kept trying to live, and then he died. It was so sad. So then what happened was, Tasha was so confident. She was like, yeah, what's happening right now is I had Tariq plant the gun in Kanan's trunk, and the police are with him right now, and Tariq is in custody, and we have nothing to worry about. All this stuff that went down. So they're waiting. They at the police station now waiting because he go, what's his name? He mad as I don't know what. Ghost is mad as I don't know what at Tasha, because he wanted Dre to be the one to go down for all this. Well, when they get to the police station or wherever in the world it was at some police station somewhere, the place where Angie worked. And they ended up bringing Tariq, and he was like, you all right, whatever. So then that woman who had been after Angie this whole time, she said, well, I need to talk to you with Mrs. St. Patrick. I need to talk to you first. So she ended up questioning her. They kept showing, they kept panning and showing them questioning her. Then they questioned Keisha at one point in time. And Keisha ended up corroborating the story that Tasha asked her to say, which was that she saw Kanan at the wake, I guess is what it was, and that he had all kinds of opportunities while all those people were at the house in order to be the person who stole the gun. So they was able to pin everything on him, and he did. Tommy, meanwhile, is at the house. Well, he ain't at the house. He at the morgue about to identify Kanan's body, and then ghosts pop up. And so he was looking like, man, I can't believe you did this. He was like, I don't even understand. See, meanwhile, Ghost trying to tell him what really happened. He actually tell the truth. He was like, man, This is the lowest you ever been. I can't believe you would lie like this. Tommy don't even believe that Tasha did all this stuff, set all this stuff up. That's how crazy this is. So that's basically what ended up happening on this episode. They did the most. What next time? I can't wait. They gonna set it off next time. It's gonna be good. Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful Sunday. Bye.